So since lionfish were first detected in 1985 off of southeast Florida, they spread throughout the southeast Atlantic into the Caribbean, the Keys, into the Gulf of Mexico.
Lionfish are very successful for a variety of reasons. They have several biological characteristics that make them the perfect invader. They have high reproductive output. They essentially release anywhere from 30 to 50,000 eggs every few days, so their population has the ability to expand very rapidly.
Started out seeing a few on some wrecks, maybe a couple on the reef. Never thought in a million years it was going to be what it is today.
When lionfish first showed up in 2011, I noticed them in my own private life being a spear fisherman. We had never seen anything like that show up on the reefs before, and it was alarming.
They're not native to Florida or the Gulf, and therefore predators, native species, don't recognize them as a predator or a potential prey item. So essentially they don't have that pressure on their populations.
As the months and years wore on, you would see more and more lionfish on the reefs and less native species. What was otherwise a pristine reef locally was morphing into something else, and it was an unnatural thing to see.
So when we first started seeing lionfish, I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago, we were harvesting red snapper and grouper and seeing a bunch of them. We just started killing them for fun, and we ate them, and they were good. And
lionfish do taste really good.
There's no season on them. There's no limit. You can kill you want to kill as much as you possibly can. And there's no repercussions to the environment. It's actually helping the environment the more you kill.
When you remove a lionfish, you could be generationally improving the stock and species that we all rely upon from a native standpoint, and people can feel good about that.
It's probably the most fun you can have underwater, other than taking pictures of stuff, is killing lionfish.
Our outreach initiatives were essentially how our program started in 2013, 2014. We were mandated to increase awareness about the lionfish invasion and encourage the public to get involved, as well as encourage the commercial market and basically show people that they can consume lionfish.
As we started seeing more and more, we found them that people were selling them and buying them.
So the moment I discovered that lionfish were viable in restaurants was actually the first time that I had ever caught a lionfish, filleted it, and ate it myself.
We would go around to different restaurants and with coolers with our fish, hey, do you want these? And they would look at them, and we kind of had to go up and down the coast just looking for restaurants to sell them to.
I'm the CEO of McGuire's Management Group. I have 7 restaurants.
I am a restaurant owner in Destin, Florida and Navarre, Florida.
We have got to have sustainable seafood in the Gulf of Mexico.
And lionfish ends up being a threat to the availability of those resources.
We want to have good, fresh seafood in the Florida Panhandle, and that's what it's all about. And the Gulf of Mexico right here is some of the best fish, fresh fish, that you will ever have.
I realized that it was a wonderful fish, white, mild, flaky, and could dovetail well into the restaurant business, where most American consumers prefer their fish to be a neutral flavor or basically a vehicle for other seasonings and preparation styles. It was a fantastic fish.
We were getting anywhere from like $4 to $5 a pound, and that's whole fish. And as the market kind of grew, we started selling them. We sell for around $6 to $7 a pound.
Consumers so far have been very responsive to the quality of the product, the preparations that we've been putting forth with lionfish, and so far the market has borne lionfish as a product very well.
So our outreach initiatives include school programs. We travel statewide and host lionfish dissections with middle school to high school age students. We also travel to different events statewide, dive shops, fishing clubs, also festivals.
So I teach a class. It's the only class certified through PADI to teach actual eradication. So I actually teach a kill class on lionfish. History, morphology, genealogy of the fish, kind of give people a background on it so they know why they're here, best practices to get rid of them, and what the repercussions of removing them are.
Lionfish can survive up to 1,000 feet of water, but realistically, a diver can only access the top 200 feet. So that leaves about 800 feet that divers or humans can't access, and traps are that answer. Fish traps were banned in the Gulf of Mexico many years ago, mostly due to the bycatch associated with fish traps. But recently, a lot of people have been working to try and develop a trap that's specific for lionfish. But again, the biggest catch is bycatch. So recently, there's been a lot of testing off of Okaloosa County, collaborating with University of Florida, FWC, and NOAA to come up with this trap design.
So since the start of the FWC lionfish program in 2014, we've tracked the removal of over 500,000 lionfish from state waters. This in reality is probably a smaller number than what's actually being removed, again because we only started the tracking process the past few years, and many people are harvesting lionfish that may not participate in our programs. Today, doing the kickoff pre-tournament event for the Emerald Coast Open, which is in conjunction with the Lionfish Removal and Awareness Day Festival that'll be happening May 18th and 19th. This day was established by FWC resolution in 2015, and it's been an annual event to both increase awareness about the lionfish invasion, encourage consumption of lionfish, and also remove as many lionfish as possible within a certain time frame.
Took the opportunity to involve myself also with folks who were organizing derbies to try to remove these invasive species from our local waters, because you could see the actual impact in real time. People are inherently jazzed on the idea of being able to, one, enjoy their meal, and two, be a positive impact on the environment. At the end of the day, they can feel good about having eaten the fish that they just ate in the restaurants.